Hi guys, a very good afternoon. Maswera say, welcome to Africa Independent Television Network. And this afternoon, let us talk about the possibilities of an impeachment in the nation of Zimbabwe. A lot is happening at this moment in time, and anything can happen. But we need to take a look on the legal routes which can make President Mnangagwa leave office. Route number one, which is the most easiest, is for him to resign from the office of the president. And once he resigns, then there will be need for us to have a new president. But that would trigger ZANU PF to sit down and find his successor. So resigning does not mean the people of Zimbabwe will have the desired results, because you still have ZANU PF sitting down and finding out who can replace him. And the second option is an impeachment. But this impeachment, it needs two sides. This is a political decision which is going to be made. This is politics which will be in play. And what it means is ZANU PF will need Triple C. Triple C will need ZANU PF for an impeachment to happen. For example, ZANU PF does have numbers in parliament which can stop an impeachment from happening. So what it means is, if an impeachment is to be done, ZANU PF, with the support of some MPs from Triple C, can successfully impeach President Emmerson Mnangagwa, as long as they are going to have the majority voting for him to be impeached. But the major question is, what will be the politics like? It will need political backup for that to happen, because if the plan does not go well, what it means is it will be disaster. He can even resist to leave office after impeachment, which will need the political pressure to be exerted on him, which ZANU PF does not have. Which means whoever who wants to replace President Emmerson Mnangagwa from ZANU PF does not have the political capital to remove him. That is where you need Triple C, particularly President Nelson Chamisa, to chip in and assist. So let us take a look onto the constitutional requirements. There are constitutional options. I've talked about them. So the major question is, can Parliament remove president? Yes. In 2017, the Central Committee resolved that if President Mnangagwa does not agree to retire as president, it will instruct the party whip to start impeachment proceedings. And there was also a mention of vote of no confidence. But a vote of no confidence does not mean a president can be removed. You can vote, you can put a vote of no confidence, but that doesn't mean the president will actually leave. What the president can do is that if you pass a vote of no confidence, he can fire the whole cabinet and reappoint new ministers, and that will be the end of it. You will survive. Or secondly, he can call up for the new elections, that is after dissolving the parliament, and within 90 days then you expect to have fresh elections. That also is a possibility that can happen. That is if a vote of no confidence is passed. And according to this, parliament can remove President Emmerson Mnangagwa with only one option, that is impeachment. So the lower house and the upper house, they can co-join and work together to deal with that matter. So let us take a look on what happened in 2017. In 2017, there were rumors that President Mugabe wanted to suspend parliament and survive the impeachment. Was that going to happen? No, it wasn't. Why? It is not constitutional for a president to suspend the sittings of parliament. Parliament is not controlled by the executive, which means its sittings are not controlled by the executive. But since Jacob Mdenda is an instrument of ZANU PF, if he belongs to the function of the president. He can suspend the operations of parliament. He can find reasons to suspend the operations of parliament, which means in such a scenario, parliament cannot sit to deliberate on those important matters. So that is also a very important point to actually consider when dealing with this matter. So under Section 145 of the Constitution, the date Parliament's first sitting under a general election is fixed by the President. But after that, under Section 146, each House of Parliament determines the time and duration of its sittings. So, which means the President will not have such power to deal with such matters. But let us quickly go and take a look on the record of the President. So, ZANU PF in 2017, after several provincial structures said that president should not be expelled from the party, but also recalled as a president. A motion of impeachment was moved in parliament and was supported by various parliamentarians, and the process started. So when they came to sit down to deliberate on that move, that is when a letter was received by the Speaker of Parliament of President Mugabe resigning as the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And there was joy and jubilation across Zimbabwe. There was happiness all over across Zimbabwe. And that is when President Emerson Mnangagwa then moved back to Zimbabwe, promising the people of Zimbabwe a new Zimbabwe, which failed to actually come. So the impeachment process, this is a political process. It means we are charging the holder of an office, and in this case, the president, with misconduct or removing him from office if he is found guilty. So an impeachment is a process. It doesn't mean that when you move a motion of impeachment, the president will be removed simply like that. No, you have to provide evidence of misconduct. In this case, for example, in Zimbabwe, we have seen serious breaches of the constitution. For example, the president is mandated to protect the constitution and to make sure that it's upheld to the letter. But in the case of Triple C versus Shavangu, we have seen political interference. We have seen the president failing to protect the constitution, to make sure that it is fulfilled to the letter. We have seen political judgments being delivered by judges. This is a clear matter of Sengizo Shavangu versus Amos Chibaya. And Sengizo Shavangu saying Tadzinga Amos Chibaya without any evidence, and the court saying yes, Wadzingwa. So you can actually see that there is a great bias there. Everybody can see that this is a political decision made. This is not a judicial decision made by the court, which means the constitution, the impeachment process can be invoked. And if investigations find out that President Mnangagwa failed to protect the interests of the constitution, then he can be impeached and removed from office. So you'd see that this is essentially a political process, and it's not a legal one. And the decision to impeach a head of state and to remove him from his or her office if found guilty is made on a political rather than legal grounds. The Constitution does not, however, lay down a procedure for impeachment. Okay, so the procedure for impeachment in the Constitution, it does have 3 stages. The first stage, we have the Senate and the National Assembly. They must meet in a joint sitting and resolve by a simple majority of their total membership that the president should be removed from office or anyone or for anyone or more. For anyone or more of 4 grounds. So, number 1, we have serious misconduct. Number 2, we have failure to obey or uphold and defend the Constitution. Number 3, willful violation of the Constitution. Number 4, inability to perform his duties because of physical or mental incapacity, which means in this case, D does not apply, which is number 4 does not apply. But for violation of the constitution, it can apply in the case of Zimbabwe, and as well as a B, which is failure to obey, uphold, or defend the constitution. So several things have happened, and the president has failed to uphold and defend the constitution. What is happening in Zimbabwe is criminal. Whatever which is happening is in its nature criminal, and it amounts to serious misconduct, which means we have 3 grounds which can be put in place to allow the impeachment to happen. So you can actually see that once a resolution has been passed, Parliament's Committee on Standing Rules and Orders must appoint a 9-member committee of senators and members of National Assembly to investigate the removal of the president. Although Section 97 of the Constitution does not say so, the committee would have to give the president a full opportunity to respond to the allegations against him. He has a right to a fair hearing under Section 69 of the Constitution, which means that this is a process which will take days. It's not a simple process, and since it's not a simple process, it means he can manipulate some things. He can manipulate a lot of activities during that particular moment, because remember, he still has the power. He still has the power as the president, and he still calls the shots. So he'll be in charge of some of the activities within the nation, which makes it difficult for the people operating to be actually doing this. So what it means is this will be a very, very, very difficult moment. That is the reason why they had to put President Mugabe under house arrest first before they made a move to impeach him. If they had not put President Mugabe under house arrest, they were not going to impeach him. They were not going to succeed in impeaching him, which means at this moment in time, that is the reason why those who are within ZANU PF finds it difficult for them to start that process, although they disagree with him as a president. So if the committee recommends that president should be removed from office, the Senate and National Assembly must meet again in joint session to deliberate the recommendation. And if in that joint session they resolve by a 2/3 majority of their total membership to adopt the recommendation, then the president immediately ceases to hold office. So this third stage is the most critical and the most crucial. Mari dzinenge dzatochinjana maoko ipapapo during that particular period. Just imagine maita zvimwe zvese, all the 2 processes above, then you get to the third process and you fail to garner 2/3 majority. It means president will survive. But what it means to the MPs who have participated in that, it means muchidzokera kupati kunenge kuchinorakashanwa zvakaipa, marikozi iwayo, kusungwa ikoko, and that's how they'll be silenced. That is the reason why it's very difficult for them to make such a move. So the first move they will need to do is to make sure that they neutralize him within Zimbabwe. They neutralize him. They neutralize all institutions. Once they manage to neutralize him and his power, then they can make a move to actually impeach him. So you would see that this is an elaborate process and would take time to complete. So we cannot say how long. It depends. So with the situation in Zimbabwe at this moment in time, Zimbabwe is a full dictatorship, and it's very, very, very difficult for an impeachment process to actually happen in the nation of Zimbabwe. So you'd see that it's something else, but it doesn't mean that it cannot happen. So if the president is impeached, then the vice president takes over as acting president, which means if President Mnangagwa leaves through impeachment, Vice President Kembo Mohadi or Vice President Constantino Chiwenga can take over as acting president. And all the ministers who were appointed by him will stay in office, and so will be the one remaining vice president. So the fact that you can the fact that President Mnangagwa would leave does not mean we have President and Nelson Chamisa coming in as a president. It means those within ZANU PF can still continue running the show as it was, which means maminista tagara tinawo anoramba aripo zvingoramba zvifamba zvakadaro. Maybe they will have to appoint another vice president after ZANU PF agrees kuti wayakuisa mupower for as the president chaiye ndiani. So this means if one is thinking about an impeachment of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, you have to think several times, because this is the most difficult route to pursue at this moment in time in the nation of Zimbabwe. But we are going to watch and see how the situation is going to unfold. Is President Mnangagwa going to withstand economic pressure exerted by him or exerted on him by mismanagement, corruption, and looting? We do not know. That is another thing to consider when you are talking about his survival. Watch and see how it is going to unfold. So for the purpose of this one, I can tell you that it's difficult at this moment in time to actually impeach him, because several decisions will need to be made. We are starting 5 years, and up to 2023 is a very long time. But if President Mnangagwa manages to change the constitution for him to stay much longer than intended, then you will see some actions being put in place. It means you'll be threatening a lot of people in terms of their positions, in terms of their aspirations, which will put some bravery in the people to actually confront him. So those are really, it is what it is. But remember, in politics in Zimbabwe, and they are not willing to fight for others.